Sivakasi, a town in the Virudhunagar district of Tamil Nadu, is filled with culture, busy streets, and even busier factories. It is primarily industrial and has three primary industries: firecracker, printing, and matchbox.
So initially, when the match industry was formed in India, it was initially formed around Calcutta. That was where the founding point was for the production of matches and fireworks, to be honest. But later on, one person called Ayanada from Sivakasi, I'm not sure of the right period time, but maybe around 1940s or 50s would be the right time to quote you, or about 20 years before. He went there, studied, and he decided that when it's being manufactured there, why not do it in our town? And Sivakasi was an immediate hit for it back then. The reason is because for the industries which survived and happened in Sivakasi, fireworks, printing, match industry, these three are the main. All three had plenty of the first raw material for matchbox, that is, would be wood. Each thing had its own thing. So for the paper printing industry or the other things would be paper and board. For fireworks would be labor. Sivakasi had surplus of everything. So there was plenty of labor but no work. And again, they were cheap labor at that time because the cost of living in India was, even now it's cheap, so back then it was dirt cheap. So he went, studied, and he said, why not? And when he came down here, the reason why, even though in spite of all these factors, it was the biggest hit was because the weather conditions.
Sivakasi is a very entrepreneurial town. Fireworks, matchboxes and all are very traditional businesses that is not originated here, but it started flourishing when it started here.
This town, however, is not limited to just its factories and industries. Sivakasi is also known for one of India's most unique and celebrated art styles, bazaar art. With the prevalence of the printing industries of the town, Sivakasi serves as a place where artists receive commissions from the industries. This has led to the development of Sivakasi as both an industrial town but also a haven for artists to work commercially. Sivakasi is deeply rooted in a semi-urban lifestyle. Besides the abundance of factories that make for much of the land here, the town is home to rich Tamilian culture, century-old traditions and lifestyles. Everything from the dressing and architecture to the food and language captures the true culture of the town. However, one aspect of this town stands out more than others, and that is the endless and extensive production of matchboxes. From hundreds of factories to thousands of workers, many of this town have dedicated their lives to the production of matchbox. A high number of women find themselves employed in this work, engaged in the hand assimilation and boxing of the produce.
The real essence of a matchbox is just two things. One is that what chemical is dipped on the head of a matchstick, and another one is what is on the side, because only if these two comes together you will have the idea of why your matchbox is made.
When it comes to making matchboxes, the process is much of a journey in itself, each step followed with precision. First, the wood is flattened into long sheets and sliced into uniform matchsticks. After filtration to discard the incorrectly shaped matchsticks, the sticks are dried and the heads are dipped into the chemical which helps in striking the matchstick. Some of these matchsticks even go through the process of carbonization, which makes the wood heat resistant and allows the embers to stay intact without falling. In the case of wax matchsticks, the paper is made into thin strips and are dipped in wax. And then a similar dipping process for the heads as the wooden matchsticks. Upon a client's request, the labeling company goes through multiple processes of trimming, designing, screen printing, and lamination. Post this, the boards are cut into skillets and are split until they are finally segregated into separate matchboxes. Sivakasi, once a town where many citizens were employed in the craft of making matchboxes, has now witnessed the inevitable effect of mechanization of the industry. Various factories that saw thousands of workers producing matchboxes by hand started to shift towards mechanization and modernization. Employees were replaced by cost-effective machines, and those who retained their place in the factory were reduced to merely operating the technology. The passage of time changed everything. Wooden matchboxes are filled and packed using a machine, whereas wax matches are hand-filled in the boxes and packed by hand through manual labor. Earlier, the art of matchboxes held immense cultural significance. The branding depends on the cultural stability and educational constraint of the society. The designs were meant to convey social, political, and environmental messages.
50-55 சிவகாசி ஃபுல்லாகவே மேட்ச் பாக்ஸ் லேபிள்ஸு எல்லாம் பிரிண்ட் பண்ணி அப்போது பெயிண்டிங் போட்டு கொடுப்பாங்க. ஆர்டிஸ்ட் வரணும், பெயிண்டிங் போட்டு கொடுக்கணும். பெயிண்டிங் போட்டு கொடுக்குறதுல அதை திருப்பி பிரிண்டிங் ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்காக லித்தோ கல்லில் எழுதுவாங்க. அதே இதை டேஸ்ட் பண்ணி அது ஒரு ஆர்டிஸ்ட்டு, லித்தோ கல்லில் ஸ்டோனில் எழுதுறதுக்கு ஒரு ஆர்டிஸ்ட் இருப்பாங்க. அவங்க இதை கலர் பிரிச்சப்போ நாங்கள் ஒரு 5 கலர் 6 கலர் எல்லோ, ரெட்டு, ப்ளூ, பிளாக் எல்லாம் போடுவோம். அதை தனித்தனியாக ஒவ்வொரு கலருக்கும் ஒவ்வொரு இதாக போட்டு பிரித்து அவங்க போடுவாங்க. அதை பூரா சேர்த்து ஸ்டோனில் எழுதி அதை பிரிண்ட் பண்ணி அதை வச்சு பிரிண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க.
In earlier times, larger companies produced individual and unique designs that would represent their own original ideas. These designs were not replicated by other companies. Mass production, however, changed the face of this industry forever. Computers and mass commercialization increased the efficiency and speed of the production process. What took weeks to create before was now only a matter of a day. Software such as Adobe and Corel are used to design the prints. Match companies choose a template from multiple options rendered, post which the actual printing takes place. Printers are provided with the base on which the design is created. Popular designs are replicated by many companies, and so frontrunners in the industry trademark their designs and brand names.
The problem that I can see is like when you talk about the art, there's no art left on the matchbox, to be honest. Because like, you know, I literally crave to find new matchboxes, but everywhere I go, like I just end up finding ATM or like AIM matchboxes. So like when you talk about art on matchboxes, I think it's a very local thing. Like, you know, you won't really find it anywhere. You have to literally go into the deeper interiors to find out, you know, what the matchboxes are. Right. So I think imitation is something like that still remains, like, you know, copying from the artist, but like I think the better take on like in 2020 would be the emulsion of the art. So like if you see like these posters that you see behind me, one of them is that, yeah, and that one. So this is an actual poster that I collected from one of my favorite artists. Her name is Giggling Monkey. Imitation is one thing, but like I think emulsion is taking over.
As artists began to lose their source of livelihood, matchbox manufacturers and designers embraced this shift. Machinery changed the lives of men and women who had dedicated their careers to making matchboxes. The matchbox represents more than just an everyday item. It is the employer of thousands of people and a foundation for the essence of the town. Today, the prints and designs on matchboxes receive less than a second's glance. Few know of the power held by these miniature canvases. Matchboxes are snapshots of history, telling tales of oppression, pride, independence, and enjoyment.